To see this team try and take fights eventually.
Yeah, definitely. Myths need to really start to be aggressive a lot more and be controlling across their area. Same could be said for Blacklist International, because it was noted well on the analyst desk that they're a team that are relying quite heavily on placement points, and it feels like they're playing to survive rather than playing to win. And that can work when you go unnoticed in the first day, maybe two of a tournament or finals. But as teams start to look back on VODs and start to adapt themselves, there's technically a lot less area within a game where you can really control, unless you start to make some noise and control that area yourself. You're not really going to be given as much free real estate or free space to survive into the late stages of the game. And it speaks for itself, because in today's games so far, they've only gotten 1 placement point. They have gotten 6 kills, but only 1 placement point. So Blacklist, I'd like to see a bit more adaptability from them.
Okay, already I want to get this out of the way. Na'Vi is not good. Northern George, they're going straight on top of IA, and that is something that was mentioned earlier, right? IA, they're always going to go on top of military base. That's what Blair said on the desk, and that is true. And even if Na'Vi is there, they're going to give it their fair shot. They're going to fight for it. This is their drop location, and they're not going to give it for anything in the world. Because of the very southern plane pass, Na'Vi had to go for a secondary drop location. Northern George was out of the question, so that's a potential early skirmish that could be happening, unless, and I would see IA, they're very high up north. They could very easily pick up a card that spawns up north on military and leave, but is that really what they're going to do then, IA? I'm not 100% certain about that.
Like, I can see IA winning this one, because they have all 4 players together now, of course.
Experience.
You know, and experience and confidence at the moment, right? They've had 2 pretty solid games, especially this last game. A1 trying to catch out the Xavier player inside the vehicle. Sinister is going to switch on over to the M16. Come on, final shots, come on! Oh, he's able to just about get away with that one.
Got away was murder almost. Well, not quite. Didn't get any knots, but made it out. That is never worth it, Imperium. If you do not get the knock and trying to drive over someone in the first 10, 15 seconds, just leave, because you got a teammate of the opponent that's just going to be coming up. He's got himself a weapon, and he is going to be taking you down. Though we are sitting in the kill feed currently, Valda's taking a fight, and seemed like Valda's unfortunately had the short end of the stick, as Blacklist International did pick themselves up. I believe it was 2 kills. It is indeed 2 kills coming their way, and they're instantly going to be moving out. Unfortunately, it was not a great amount of loot, as we did see Claire here has himself a crossbow, so need to keep on going on that looting stage.
Phase 1 popped up on the side note, and it's very central on the map, and you can see that with that plane path being quite heavily down south. That's part of the reason why we saw a couple of early skirmishes in terms of trying to get vehicles, or Valdez losing a player, trying to do a little bit of split looting to grab an early gun, etc. But as we get a little bit more into the game, teams should settle themselves somewhat. And with such a central phase 1, there's a lot of areas for you to really control. You've got obviously Potato Hill you could go if you're the likes of Nasser or maybe Zeus. You can hold on to Headshot Hills if you're possibly Geek Fam. You can hold on to obviously Pachinki Hill for the Xavier, and A1 are already close to one of the Pachinki Hills on their looting phase. So a lot of ground to be covered as teams continue to loot up.
One team that's really done looting, that's IA. Go back on that situation, they're leaving actually. Sent user them actually high up north. He's going to be maybe scouting, getting more intel. Na'Vi are going to be wrapping around, sending Meku over to the west, and 3 other players of the team over to the eastern side. Are they deciding to collapse on top of IA? If that's the case, that is weird they would send Meku alone. Normally we would go for 2 to the left, 2 to the right, but they're not making that happen just yet, which I'm surprised by. We'll see how that's going to be unfolding in the future.
Yeah, that's interesting that Na'Vi dropped kind of onto military base, but haven't really looked to engage with. I just respecting the fact that another team is there, and knowing that they've yet to really kickstart their PMWI in a dramatic, strong result-based fashion. Because at the end of the day, as much as they got a decent amount of points in the last game, it was just left with Kitsune on his own to survive up until that point in the game. Bleb did make a good point about I8, but one thing that I've really been impressed with I8 on the drop in military base is how quick they have been to rotate onto the mainland with that drop spot. To be honest, because a lot of teams are dropping military island, they do tend to be too slow, and that puts them in a position where they aren't getting information and they might get caught out inside phase 2, phase 3. We haven't really seen that with I8 bar go too deep into the circle on the early rotation.
This is also one of the few circles in Pyram where there's a big portion of military actually inside of it, so you can take it a little bit slower, I would say.
True.
But I think that the point you're also bringing up here is that normally you would see teams gatekeep, which we haven't seen happening too much actually on the bridges, if it's both the east or the west bridge. But I'm seeing a little bit of a change of pace. BTR are staying very close to the eastern bridge, and Reject are rotating towards the western bridge. I don't know if they intend to set up shop there and actually hold on to the bridge itself, but it does seem like there's a bigger chance this time around of actually having teams gatekeeping, especially I think because of the plane path being so southern, that chance of a gatekeeping happening on top of the bridge has increased significantly.
DRS disengaging away from Yasnaya very early on in this game is putting them much closer to the center of this phase 1. And I like that a lot. It's going to allow them to get more information and possibly put a bit of pressure onto Zeus. Yala and DS Gaming are starting to pick up steam on their rotation and get closer to each other. Talked about DRS rotating early. Well, they sent the scout up into Potato Hill with Zeus already being there. They lose a player, but that could be a worthwhile loss, a sacrificial lamb, so to speak, where DRS will know for a fact that there's a full squad on top of the hill.
Not going to be a full squad this time around. It's going to be the Saudi Arabian team of Yala, and still powerful on his 2 feet. I'll take the full assault onto the South Korean team, but talking about the South Korean team, they're going to be sending the cavalry forward. Das Sports are ready to join. Just been definitely doing strides for the team in general. Sading going to be taking a one-on-one on the lower section of the building versus Powerful. The missile trying to hold onto the staircase too. Siding, you have to join right now. Powerful is doing a little bit of whatever he wants. Now he's just locked on down. Great off angle, by the way, you have to see on top of that ceiling from Missile. And actually able to get himself the kill. Yala Esports still down to 1 player, do you believe? And he's just going to be leaving the scene as nothing happened in the first place.
Yeah, a bit of a shame from Yala. Goodbye DS Gaming. They just rotated and reacted a little bit quicker to that one, and now that leaves Jammaz left on his own. Probably shouldn't be that way, Yala. I get that you kind of somewhat split drop, but when you're talking about rotating in on phase 1, either do it as a full squad or at least only send 1 player scouting a compound and see what happens after that. You see the Xavier punishing Nasser Esports around the school apartments region. Like, look at that split from Nasser. Like, is that really needed this early in the game? Of course it's early in the game, so it's possible, but when you're talking about this phase 1 and, you know, school apartments being a core rotational area for a few of these teams, that heavy split is a reason why they're getting called out.
If you want to go for a split around school apartment, I would say it's a 2-2 split. You have 2 players in school, 2 players in apartment. You have vehicles ready to rotate in case a team comes nearby, and that's how you should play it. Here's just way too thin. And it doesn't help them out very clearly. Like, 2 players already out, Moomin and Nabo still up and ready to go, and trying to rotate back on top of each other is also going to be extremely complicated. And Xavier is a team that has been looking more and more confident as time been going on in Pyram, I would say. But they are not scared to take these fights, and that's a mentality that NASA should try and embody, but unfortunately it doesn't seem to come up just yet.
Yeah, the Xavier currently 6th overall in the standings. They're only 1 point behind A1 Esports, but they are on equal points to BTR. With these kill points so far in the game, it'll help them jumping ahead of a couple of teams if they can continue on into the late game. Phase 2 popped up, by the way, and is centralized once again. So strong, good, positive circles for the 3rd game of the day. Your evilness is not getting in control of these circles of this game number 3, Max.
Lucky rubber ducky. NASA, as they continuously get pushed upon by Xavier. Down to now 2/3 HP, still got his own utility to slow things down, but now he's definitely giving the information over. And that's the thing, right? If there's no car available on the other side for Nabo, how he's going to join up on Moomin? I mean, I would say just don't at this point. You want to try and just snake your way, and you're relatively good in the circle. Just remain as a 1-man, because you know that there's no way The movement unfortunately makes it out alive. He's on the right side. You got to be careful. Switching over to the smoke. You're not going to kill them with a smoke, man. Go over to the M249. Now that's a weapon you're going to do some damage with. But unfortunately, will only get himself a 1 knock in a process. And now, maybe time for Nabu. Man, actually, that's a lot more knocks than I expected coming up from Moomen. Maybe, if Nabu was there, that could have went their way.
Can he still pull something?
No way.
There
Oh, no.
you go, in through the doorway.
Ah.
He's going to find one, but of course, his position has now been compromised. So unfortunately, as much as it was a knock, was that really worth it? No, I don't think it was now, but he's not going to give up, though. He lays down the smoke. He's going to push on forward. I respect this from Nabo. No fear, just fight. You got nothing to lose.
Sure, that nade. You know exactly what window is going to be peeking out from. There you go, pre-firing. That's what we want from Nabu. Goes for the spray once more. One more bullet is all you need. He's going to get a little bit further and wider. Now he's going to be switching over. I believe over to the M16. The one taps is not really what he needs. And one nade inside that smoke. There's no escape. No. That is the play. That is the play you need. And Nabo can't do anything against it. As D Xavier, that's 4 kills to their name. And once again, unlucky rubber ducky for Nasta as they are out in 16.
Believe it or not, Valdez were actually getting a couple of shots onto Nabo. That's why he had to prone down in that moment and he couldn't push forward. I'm not saying he would have done much more, but that is part of the reason why he was slowed down, and that nade was so crucial to the Xavier getting that final kill. Fnatic Zombies now rotated across the eastern bridge. I8 are still in Military Island and Navi are on that western bridge, but Myths are in a similar pathline. You can see that it has slowed them down a little bit, but at the end of the day, the fact that they are across the bridge into that mainland is very positive for Navi moving on into phase 3.
What are you going to say? It's very poggers. I'm so used to you saying that now. It's like it's part of your dialect now, Imperium. But no, positive. Yes, also. I agree. I mean, you know what? Fair. I will take the blame. I showed you Reddit, and unfortunately, I should have never done that. No other teams. Navi's going to be pushing up. They're going to have a few kills in the way. Myth, they're not a team that I would really say are renowned for gatekeeping and trying to control positions, right? They play edge, they play passive, and once they get to the late game, that's where they start to be a little bit more active and trying to actually take more control of their destiny. Here, they're trying to defend it versus Na'Vi. Na'Vi are a team that if they see someone, they shoot everything that moves, so there's no way that Myth are going to avoid that fight. One player goes down, and Myth should go back to a more passive nature and try and avoid the fight. But there's so much breathing space. If it goes over to the west, though, where Geek Fam is, that will be pretty tricky for a big portion of the lobby, which it somewhat happens on top of the northern side of Pachinki. The amount of compounds has been cut down significantly this time. Never mind
the fact that we could see 2 or 3 teams commit themselves to the Pachinki city, or at least the edge of it. Geek are in a fantastic spot to have the compound that's outside of Pachinki, but Church is still open for the taking. The Xavier reacting, DRS reacting, Zeus staying up on top of Potato Hill. This is where things start to get pretty wild as Myth are making their way up to the south of Pachinki Hill.
I think that's a great spot. I think it's actually the best spot here, Imperial, very clearly. The amount of information you're going to get is huge, even though it's not going to be a long-term option unless you have some of the luckiest circle shifts coming your way, then maybe. And because it's so valuable, of course teams are going to be dropping on that. Of course teams are going to contest it away. And that's going to be the one in the name of Reject. Going to try and smoke and use the utility to kind of dissipate away the team of Myth, but Myth still want to give it a fair shot. Though it is a compound that's big enough where you could share it. Well, we're not even a compound, a hill that's big enough for you to share it. Send one team to the north and you should be fine. But we had one great utility, one great nade from Faroki. Divine now stuck inside of that shack. Duello wrapping around. Is he going to go for an off angle from down below? If he does, Myth without utility are in so much trouble.
Lapis in the back line, going to be providing a little bit of support. Another one comes in as well. Good play by Reject. They're getting together, and that's the most important thing, right? They've only lost Sarah, so Duello, Lapis, Divine going to be working together quite nicely in towards the Pachinki Hill area. A1 are in a great spot inside the circle, and the compound that's outside of the field of Pachinki. BTR have gone for the edge of Pachinki situation, and Myth are getting third party, and they are out of here.
Yeah, but look, that's exactly what I said. You could very easily share Pachinki Hills. There's 2 little hilltops. There's a little bit of a valley in between them. Myth instantly, if they saw the Reject were coming, do not stop your cars. Do not remain on that hilltop. Just get back into them and go for the other one. Do not take the fight if you don't really have to, because you're not even installed in those buildings. You're not ready to take the fight.
Oh, I8, you're committing to it this late into the circle rotating in? That is ballsy, but it couldn't work out.
They could. I mean, if they go for the western side, which it seems like that's what they're going to be doing, you're going to have not only great oversight of Na'Vi and also Reject potentially pushing down, but you're not going to really mix up with a lot of the teams. But I'm surprised. A lot of teams are committing. We've got Xavier, DS Gaming, BTR, and also I8. And we might have more about to come very soon in the names of maybe Reject or Na'Vi that seems like they're actually pushing on top of each another.
Fair play to I8. It worked out because one of their players got knocked out, but Crypto instantly slapped back with a counter knock. Both teams are going to get the revive up, and it was risky, but it's going to work out as Malik with the UMP FPP mode gets a knock onto Reject.
Oh, when you go into smoke is the best mode to go into the FPP, and also makes your nade throws a little bit easier to play with. Reject understanding that this is not a fight they can take. They lost Sarah earlier, they lose another player. Now Divine and Lapis will make the most out of the information they gathered and hopefully use it to their win condition. Moving out, not gonna lie, I did not think Na'Vi would go for that one, but it seemed like they knew the circle was not going to go their way, so they wanted to create more breathing space, which is exactly what they did. But this circle is horrendous for Na'Vi, as they're going to have to wrap around Pachinki itself, which is not an easy feat to achieve.
But it's more horrendous for the teams that committed to Pachinki, because now they're on the south edge of the circle, clustered together, afraid to move, not sure what's safe, not sure what's clear, and a good 75% of the circle has like 2 or 3 teams in it, right? So there's a lot of space for Na'Vi to enter into.
It's not a lot of compounds, so you need to know the terrain like the back of your hands. A1 spotted out by Fnatic Zombies. As Fnatic Zombies have really turned a new leaf, I would say. They do not give a damn. They will take fights if they really have to, and this is exactly what they did. A1 will be taken out of the lobby in 14th place this will be, and 13 teams still up and ready to go. But all the teams are now committed inside Pachinki. I mean, especially thinking at IA, you are locked in between all the teams on the northern side of Pachinki, and you're also locked by the blue zone, just literally but slowly creeping in your direction. What is the plan for I8 to move out of that position? Because that is not an easy rotation for them to pull off.
Let's hope for the best, try and get as much information as possible. Blacklist International, they're in the best spot. Yeah, they don't get that much information from their current compound in terms of Pachinki, but it doesn't matter because they're in a very central position, and they don't have to because all the teams that are in Pachinki are going to take each other out. They only have to focus on Valdez and DRS to the north and the right. The second that they control them, they do have a good 56% control of the circle.
I think that's definitely, you hit the nail on the head. They just are going to be controlling so much, but they're going to be playing in the compound. And as you said, there's going to be a lack of information that might hurt a little bit for them. Though BTR, they're in a somewhat similar position as to where I8 were, and they're going to be right on top of each other. They have to take the fight, and these fights like this, unfortunately, means that not many players will actually come out on top. It's a little bit all over the place. Liquid taking a severe beating, but not enough to actually put him down onto his knees in submission, so he will be able to pull off that first aid. He's still got 1 to go after this one. He's got to try and end up that fight relatively soon. Other teams, I've seen the fight happen, and they're using this as an opportunity to move away. Xavier hearing the shots are like, we don't want to get involved, we're leaving, and we're going straight towards the central part of the circle.
Same with DS. DS are in a similar situation, they're more looking towards the roadside. Geek Fam, they've reacted to these circles really well, moving on to Church. Reject Scarlet go down. We're left with 12 teams. Valdez was be the one to clean them up. Let's not forget about Zeus. They held on to Potato Hill. They've come down Potato Hill. They now hold on to one building as a duo outside Pachinki Fields, and then they have the other 2 just a little bit more up towards the northeastern edge of this circle. They are in a really good spot to react to Phase 5.
Currently, there's one team that's overseeing a lot of what's happening in Pachinki, and that is Geek Fam. They are executing it really well in that position. They're having 2 players on the northern side, keeping intel on, for example, where Na'Vi are standing, or even potentially where the likes of Blacklist International currently stand, while still having 2 players onto the southern side, one of those being Damrude, and keeping intel on what's happening inside Pachinki itself. But we're not going to be ending in Pachinki, so it doesn't really matter all that much. It goes right in favor of Blacklist International, but this circle is really hard to play, and the reason why, Imperium, it's a slope, and slopes aren't fun to play around, especially later on down the line.
Now, Na'Vi can do something with this, but I actually don't like the fact that they're committing so deep so early in this circle, especially as only a duo. Very risky. They're spreading themselves quite thin. Geek Fam have control in the south, but looking back into Pachinki, you said it shifted away. BTR, I8, DS, and the Savior, they have it all to do.
Great shot from Zaxi here, gonna get himself a knock. Crypto also gets taken down by a nade. Luxy down below. They're picking them up one by one. The rest of IA are just trying to leave the scene unscathed, but easier said than done. Blade, UZM. Also, if they move away from BTR, that's great, but you're also going to be pushing away towards the Xavier, and they got a 4-man squad ready to take you down at any time. That's going to be the real attempt for them. And as I say it, UZM picked up. It's going to be actually Geek Fam. The team that was overlooking, as I said earlier, are still going to be having some hands-down influence on what's happening in this compound. Big smoke road unfolding from the South Korean team of DS Gaming, going straight towards Saudi Arabian team of Yalla Esports. Only Jamaz, actually. He's not even a team, it's just a one-man player. And he's going to be inside of that. And actually able to peek up last second. Now the information has been given over. One nade, that's all you really need. It's so easy to nade, but with the smoke in hand, it's making it so hard to play around. The Snake, he's got himself the angle too. Jamaz is just ruining everything for DS Gaming.
Peekaboo, I see you. Jamaz steps up and goes, haha, I'm here. Just like a jack in the box.
No, Satan. There you go. They know where Satan is. They can see his health bar through the smoke. So if they want to do a nade a little bit more to the left, and you instantly take Jamaz down. That could be their course of action they're going to be going for, but Jamaz has just been such a pain. Yalla Esports are maybe going to able to pick themselves up 4 kills out of nowhere. Jamaz has been here as a one-man army for the longest time. He's still one player behind him. Get out, Satan.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
Because they finished that kill.
Okay, Jamaz maybe thinking going back inside. Yeah, get hidden. I think you heard that nade. But now Xavier still going to be getting their hands down and dirty inside this fight.
Oh my god,
I feel no
sorry
way.
for DS Gaming. I feel sorry for them, but my god, between Jamaz and the Xavier, they could just do nothing in that moment.
That was such a great play coming out from him, of course, and he's still going to be inside the circle, I believe, just barely. So if he's got a lot of meds, he can pick up from DS Gaming that have been relatively passive entirely of this game. He could pull off the heal off from what we see of Mafia Ninja last game for DRS. I think that would be a great strat actually for him, because crossing that road is not going to be an easy thing to execute on his side. Don't think Xavier's still going to be trying to get more and more involved into the teams trying to rotate their way out of Pachinki, but that is not an easy thing to do. Actually, one of the hardest things to do itself. Where Liquid and Luxy are using all of the utility that seems that was remaining after their fight with I8. And I think we're looking at maybe the last few seconds of BTR, because the moment those smokes are gone, it is also BTR that's about to be gone.
Luckily, next circle that shifted actually centralized up on top of the hill. Navi have got firm control of this phase. I was worried about their split as the last phase popped up, but they've joined up quite nicely and they are set up to claim this chicken dinner.
Peek out, he knows, he sees a rock, he sees also a little bit of a wall remaining. Luxy trying to move them out of those windows, stop the peeking coming out from DX Xavier. It's just really hard time for BTR, because also up north, we didn't talk about them too much, but Geek Fam are also just going to surround them. So BTR, they're going to have to take themselves 2v4 clutches, not just one, but actually 2 if they want to make it out alive. I think the Indonesian team has maybe found their match to go up against. Svaldus will get picked up to the northern eastern side, and Zeus are slowly but surely getting more and more involved in the circle.
I was worried about Blacklist maybe
Wait,
distracting themselves, but BTR as a duo
Nate
got the knocks. They came in, and the Xavier, their passiveness has gone to bite them in the butt, and they've lost the majority of their players.
that was a double nade knock. They just got out of nowhere. BTR, you just turned that fight on its head in just seconds, and now Lamborghini started to rotate, and he's thinking, okay, that fight should be won. We're going to start going towards the circle. Unfortunately, that going against you, my friend. So Lamborghini's going to have to remain as the sole player of the Xavier. That is an insane upset. Well played from the BTR guys. And now Na'Vi, they're going to be taking their own fight. You said it was a little bit risky. They took more control as center early on, but this might actually come in their favor. And now they know exactly which teams are pushing their way and how to fight them. DRS again completely overwhelmed by the Russian team as Na'Vi get themselves an extra 2 kills to their name. And now they got full control of the West with the likes of Geek Fam.
Navi knew that the DRS technically had an advantage with that dip, so they had to be aggressive, they had to be proactive, and they took control, got the squad wipe. 8 teams left, 22 players. Geek Fam on towards the southwest. They've been quiet up until now, as have Blacklist International. They have an opportunity to take down the whole, and Navi are being swiped left, right, and center.
That's the hard part, right? We're playing on a slope currently with some little divots and little ridges to play behind. But other than that, if you get spotted away, if a team has the high ground, they are mostly going to be winning that. But even if they get close enough, just nade it, let the nade roll down, and you're going to be in trouble. That's what happened to Na'Vi, and now Blacklist are going to capitalize on that chance to get rid of them and be the kings of the north. The Lamborghini, you heard BTR. Nades are going to be rolling up, and once again, that's another knock. He gets the intel, but no way. That is it, and the clutch comes out from Lamborghini. That's a double to his name, up to 6 kills so far, and he is able to keep the hopes alive of Xavier, able to remain on our top 5 on the overall leaderboards. Oh, clear.
Oh, no.
Dixie, no way. Dixie spotted away, and he's also out of the game. That's going to be a 6th place for Na'Vi. 5 teams still in the running for our 3rd chicken dinner of the day. This is such an interesting one, but Zeus have suffered no casualties, still up as a 4-man. Get rid of Fnatic Zombies, the only other team on the East, and now they've got to cross over the road, but the man advantage is exactly what they need to overwhelm all the other teams in this game.
They mean the kings, the queens, the jacks, the tens, all the deck of cards controlling on the East Zeus have, but as they've gone across the road, they have a little bit of a ridge side that they can use to pick apart Blacklist, pick apart Geek Fam. Are they going too deep, too quick? Icy is thrown down. Tyra has control of the box, and he uses it to get the knock on Icy.
Okay, is there no nades available right now? One nade and that crate is gone. You will just get rid of Tyra and it'll be so easy. They're not doing it just yet, which I'm very surprised. Gonna try and get their way a little bit closer, put that guy in front of Icy to hopefully facilitate a res later on down the line. Lamborghini still making his way closer. That's a nade. That's a good one. That's an absolute banger. Snipes is gone. And QB is also going to be entirely eliminated off the back of that nade. 7 kills so far. Lamborghini is just an absolute one-man army this game. What is going on? Oh, wait, he's right behind that smoke. He got spotted out for a split second. Goes to the bloom shot and he gets rid of Geek Fam. You clutch versus BTR. You clutch versus Geek Fam. Can he be stopped, Imperium? I don't think so.
He's a one-man wrecking machine, faster than the speed of light to respond to those shots. Very well played. But now we're left with our final 3 teams. Zeus, 8 kills, full squad up. Blacklist, they are a team that plays to survive. Well, they survived up until the top 3 with a full squad and 4 kills under their belt.
So the game plan for Lamborghini right now is hope that Zeus and also Blacklist International take a fight first. That is the only chance where Lamborghini could really, and I mean really, have a clear opportunity of winning that. Otherwise, you need to win a 1v8 basically, and I don't think that's something Lamborghini really wants to try and take. The odds don't really seem in his favor. But Zeus, knowing Zeus, whenever circle like this, they like to go a little bit wider, go for wider spread. If they do that, they should get a wind of information of where Lamborghini currently stands.
Tyra starts things off, catches out Godless, the kill's gonna come through, and that's actually sending Zeus closer to Lamborghini.
He's actually taking a shot. I thought he was going to take this one so slow, so passive, but he goes for the knock onto IC. He does get taken down by CL at the very end. Still, what a great attempt from Xavier. Lamborghini, I'm tipping my hat to that. That was just such a good play in general from him from start to finish. But now, not only that, he created such a big opportunity for Blacklist because they were not involved in this fight. He got himself a kill, he got himself a knock, and because of that, Zeus are currently down to 2 players, and Blacklist has got such a huge line of sight. There is no escape for Zeus. That's still down first, only 1 player remaining. He's right on the left. That's going to be Abeles. Let's see if he can make the clutch play happen, but there's nowhere in hell that's going to be coming his way.